Hi, and welcome to your Seek Premium Talent Search webinar. Today we'll be looking at how you can search efficiently for relevant candidates for your roles and proactively connect with them to get your recruitment process on the move. So the agenda for this webinar is we'll quickly have a look at the candidates inside the Aussie labour force. I will briefly chat about what Premium Talent Search is and how you can use it. We'll spend a little bit of time on Boolean searching and the commands that you can use in Premium Talent Search when you are looking for candidates. Then we'll spend most of our time on a live demo, and I'll kind of just nitpick apart Premium Talent Search and go through best practice in this place. And then we'll finish off with what your connection methods look like with candidates, some key takeouts, and further support if you do need it as well. I anticipate this webinar to go for around 20 to 25 minutes, just to let you know as well. Now, our candidates. So there are around 12.6 million people in the Australian labour force at any given time. Seek has 11 million profiles, and just over 7 million of those profiles are searchable. So there's a lot of candidates in Premium Talent Search for you to search against. Now, breaking the candidates up into segments, we've got 30% of the market settled at any given time, so not looking to move, hopefully happy where they are at the moment. Then we've got 28% of the market that are active or seeking at any given time. So these are the candidates that I would describe are typically applying for the ads that you've got listed on Seek. And then you've got 42% of the market that are passive or monitoring at any given time. So that obviously Premium Talent Search helps us tap into this 42%, but in total we're open to 70% of the market at any given time. So that's huge. Now, what is Premium Talent Search, or more so, how does it work? You can choose how you want to search. So you will typically have a role open that you're looking to fill, and you can choose how you want to search. So if you've posted an ad, you can search against the ad that you've posted. You can also have a full-fledged search over those 7 odd million profiles that we've got as well. Some searches can return over 150,000 candidates, so then it's up to you to refine the results based on what your candidate looks like or what your ideal candidate looks like, only because no one really has time to go through 150,000 candidates or more. So that's where we use the filters in Premium Talent Search and even Boolean search techniques, which I'll go through a little later, to kind of narrow that down for you. You can also identify a candidate's receptiveness. So I'll go through this in the live demo. I won't spoil it here. And then finally, once you've come down to a manageable pool of candidates, you can start connecting with them. So there are 3 connection methods. You can touch base with a candidate via a personalized message, or by sending them a copy of your job that you might have live at the moment, or you can access their CV, download the CV, read through their resume, and get in touch with them pretty quickly that way as well. Now for Boolean searching. So these are the 5 commands that you will use in Premium Talent Search. Please feel free to screenshot this page as well. You can print it off, save it, send it to your colleagues or whatever you like with it really. But yeah, this is kind of a good little one-pager on the commands that you can use in Premium Talent Search. So, the command, so we'll start off at the start. So command, that is and. If you're looking for a candidate with Optus and Telstra experience, you would use and, so then we can search for both of those terms in the candidate CV. The next command is or. So if you're happy for this candidate to have either Optus or Telstra experience, use or. So we'll look for either one of those terms in their CV. Not, so in this case we've got Optus, not Telstra. My candidate will have Optus experience, but not any mention of Telstra in their CV at all. Now with not, there's a disclaimer with this one, only because if you use it in the sense of senior, not junior, there's a good chance that that senior candidate was once a junior something at some stage of their life. So just to make sure you don't wash out any relevant candidates, it's probably best not to use not unless the skill set is completely black and white. What I mean by black and white is, say for example, you're looking for an oncologist, and you need an oncologist that works on humans as opposed to animals. So in your Boolean string, you could say oncologist, not vet, only because then we'll exclude any candidates with veterinary experience because the skill sets are completely black and white. So just bear that in mind. You don't want to use it all too often if the skill sets are not completely different, only because you will lose out on potentially some really good candidates. Now moving to the bottom, we've got quotations. So in this case here, we've got executive manager in quotes. If we did not have them in quotation marks, we would be surfacing account executive, sports managers, beauty therapist managers. Basically, we'll be looking for those two words individually, so your results won't be as relevant. By popping them into quotation marks, I should say quotations, we'll be looking for that exact term, so executive manager within a CV together. And then finally, we've got brackets. So brackets will group functions together and allow commands to be applied between them. And I'll show you more on that in the live demo, which is right about now. So let's do it. This is your landing page for the Seek Advertiser Center. So you'd log in like normal through the employer site and then click on Premium Talent Search, which is over to the right. So let's click on that. Premium Talent Search will load up for us. And here we go. So we've just introduced a new look. You're more than welcome to kind of have a look at Show Me What's New, but I'm going to skip it for now. And now we're going to search. So I'm going to say, look, I'm looking for a sales representative. It's very hard to talk and type at the same time. Also known as a sales consultant. You could also go, also known as an account executive or account manager. So what you can see here is, and this is the beauty of Premium Talent Search, is you can be as flexible as you like. So in this case, I'm looking for a sales representative, but just so then I get my pickings worth in regards to relevant candidates, I'm also thinking about the potential other role titles they could refer to themselves as. So in this case, I've got sales representative, sales consultant, and so forth. Realistically, I could build on that, but just to keep this demo short and sweet, I'm going to stop at that one. But yeah, you could just keep going on with that as well. Questions I usually get asked at this stage is, the first one is, why are your commands in capitals? We need to know what you're looking for versus what you want us to do with the information that you're searching for. So any Boolean command you use should be in capital letters. The only command you should be using in this initial search should be or. You don't want to exclude anyone. You kind of want to have as many candidates as you can, so then you can refine down later on. The other question I get asked is, why aren't your role titles in quotation marks? And it's a fair question. The reason why is, again, because we want to start off with a really big search. We don't want to limit it to just these 4 role titles. So for example, if someone has called themselves a sales and then in brackets retail representative, because we have quotation marks around sales representative, we won't be surfacing any other relevant candidates. So just to keep it broad at this stage is probably best, and then we'll refine later on with Boolean, and I'll show you in just a couple of seconds. A few seconds. So so you kind of type in your role titles and you head over to location. So you can see here we've got the major cities. For this demo, I'm going to click on all Melbourne, but if I wanted to, I could also tap into certain parts of Sydney and the other cities as well around Australia. Then finally, you've got regional here as well. So if you want regional areas, you've got them under here too. And then there's also this wonderful little box that'll include candidates willing to relocate or commute. So you could tick this, right? And say, for example, or not for example, we are searching in Melbourne. When a candidate creates their Seek profile, we ask them, hey, are you willing to relocate? If yes, tell us where. If their where matches where you're searching, we'll also pop them into your search because they're a relevant candidate. So this works really well for roles that are hard to fill, and also roles where candidates are typically willing to relocate as well, especially for those senior roles too. I'm going to untick this though, because we're going to get a fair few candidates come up in this search. And we'll hit Seek very shortly. But before we do, if you wanted to check into the New Zealand market as well, if your role is based in the NZ, you can toggle over to New Zealand and you'll have the same location as well. So like to choose from. So let's hit Seek. Who do we get? Great, so we've got 122,000 matching profiles, just a little over. Obviously, no one has enough time to go through that many profiles, and this is where it's important to start, refining down. So firstly, to demonstrate Boolean, I'm going to head over to the keywords found in CV section. So this is where we're searching within the candidate CV. So I'm going to say I need my candidate to have home loan experience. I'm going to type that in quotations to keep it together. 926 profiles. However, my ideal candidate could have referred to it as mortgage experience or even lender. So the biggest takeout or the biggest tip I could give anyone using Premium Talent Search is to think like your candidate, because again, we're searching their profile that they've populated. We're also searching against their CV that they've also populated. So the more you can think like your candidate, the better success you'll have. So that's pretty good, but I'm going to say, all right, I'm happy with that, but I also need this candidate to come from one of the big four banks. So you can see here that I've popped my first search parameters in brackets because I'm looking for either one of these terms, 1, 2, 3, but I also need them to have a match to one of the big four banks. So let's start listing those, Westpac or NAB, ANZ or CBA. But CBA can be referred to as CommBank or Commonwealth Bank. Commonwealth Bank. Whoopsies. There we go, and I'll close the bracket. So we'll hit enter. And just to kind of go through the Boolean thing one more time, we're looking for a match to anything within this first bracket as well as a match to anything in this bracket here. So that's kind of it. You can add to it as well. I'm going to say, look, I also need someone to have sales or KPI experience. Hit enter and you can build on that. So 1,400, there's still a lot of candidates, and now what I'll do is I'll use these candidates to take you through these filters here. But that's basically how you use Boolean. Note, I didn't use not only because it is a sales role, so if I start introducing not, there's a good chance I could get rid of some really good candidates. Now, to scroll a little further down so I can take you through the filters, the first filter is industry. So what we do here is we basically map the candidate's current company, so where they're currently working, to its particular industry. And you can see here that most of our candidates, no surprise, are sitting within the finance bucket. So you could click into here, and if you were only interested in those candidates working at the in the insurance industry, you would tick this and we'll show you those 41 candidates. Just to keep it broad, so we've got lots of candidates to work with during this demo, I'm just going to tick all financial and insurance services. So we'll see 770 candidates once I hit done. Great, and that's there. The next one is company. So this here is you can search against a company, and we'll show you the candidates that currently work there that have a searchable Seek profile. So there's no surprise here, our top 5, so these companies currently have the highest number of matching profiles that are relevant to the search we've done. No surprise, we've got all the big 4 banks here, and we've also got Bank of Melbourne sitting in here too. So this will change depending on your search, how many candidates are in the companies and things like that. But again, big 4, it makes sense. If you wanted to know, you're like, okay, that's great, but I get really good candidates coming from, talking and typing is tricky, MeBank. You can type it in here, hit done, and we'll show you those candidates that currently work at MeBank. So we've got 20 matching profiles. I'm going to close that just so we've got a few more candidates to work with while I'm doing this demo. The next one is approachability. So earlier in this webinar, I mentioned that you can gauge a candidate's receptiveness, and this is exactly what I was talking about. So we've got this awesome approachability signal that I've just turned on. So you can kind of turn the signal on here or turn the filter on as such. And each candidate that falls under the approachability flag will have some wording around it, and we just call that the signal. So what the approachability signal is, it's patented technology by Seek. And what we've done is we have identified a few factors, more than a few factors, around what can make a candidate approachable. So for example, we'll take Carl for example. Carl might be searching for jobs, applying for jobs, clicking on insights and resources. Carl basically will be doing things that we deem as approachable. And then once Carl reaches a certain threshold of points, we'll then mark their profile as approachable. So a candidate can't just go in, search on Seek for one role and apply to 3 and then become approachable. You've got to be doing a certain amount of searching, a certain amount of behavior on Seek for you to then become approachable. So just remember that this is a really good tool for your temp roles that you want to get filled really quickly, because again, premium talent search or talent search in general has a lot of passive candidates in it when we think back to that 42% of the labour force. So the ones with the approachability signal are probably passive, but are less passive than other passive candidates. It's a bit wordy, but yeah, just less passive than other passive candidates. So it kind of gives you an indication on where exactly they are in their job hunting stage. We also take into consideration market trends as well. So it's not just behavior, it's also market trends. It's a very complex tool, and we're very proud of it. So the next filter here is last updated. So essentially, if I click on this, it's going to ask me, well, who do you want to see? Do you want to see candidates who have updated their profile within these timeframes? This is a good filter. However, this only indicates a candidate's update on their profile. And an update is defined as me going into my profile, fixing a typo, updating my role title. So I could have gotten this job yesterday. It's pretty much a manual update. So if you're looking for someone who's been active on Seek, I would always recommend using the approachability signal, given that you have access to it, and then sort by up here, date updated plus relevance. So what this will show you is the candidates that have been on Seek and are approachable. So they've been doing X amount of behavior, X amount of things on Seek. And then we'll filter it by, well, the date they updated, but still relevant to your search. So the reason why it's important to go date updated plus relevance is because if you just go date updated, there's a good chance you'll get very irrelevant candidates. So now we're looking at customer service instead. So date updated plus relevance will keep you on topic. Last updated as well, I would not recommend it too much for candidates who are more passive. So say, for example, you're looking to fill a CFO role. Wouldn't recommend using the updated filter, only because those candidates are really passive and probably haven't updated their profile within a year. So just remember that. It's really good for your temp roles, your contract roles, candidates who have most likely updated their profile, not so much for the super passive roles. But the approachability signal does work a treat. The next one is salary. So look, this one's pretty self-explanatory. You can use this band here. I don't know how much. There we go. If you are using it, you can also toggle to hourly. But if you are using it, always please include candidates that haven't specified their desired salary. Only because there's about a 50-50 split on candidates that like to disclose their salaries. Most of them would just rather talk to you about it in the interview or don't want to have it displayed online. So if you are using it, just include the candidates, hit done, and then at least you're not missing out on anyone that could be in your bracket. Next one is work type. So this is, again, pretty straightforward, full-time and onwards. Works really well for part-time, contract, and casual. Wouldn't worry too much if you're looking for a full-time candidate. Most candidates are open to full-time work. The next one is right to work. So simple yes or no. This is selected by the candidate, so just be wary of that. We are trying to work towards we are working towards a verification system that will help you identify, well, if someone does have the right to work in Australia, we'll verify that and also surface, hopefully, what their right to work is. So that's a bit of a watch this space, but just be wary of it if you are using it currently. CV, finally, if you only want to show candidates who have included a CV in their profile, tick this box here, hit done, and Bob's your uncle, you're done. So they're your filters. Now what we'll do is we'll quickly look at saved searches. So say, for example, this is a search you do all the time. You can hit this button here, which will save your search essentially. Give it a meaningful name. So I'm going to say sales rep home, actually, Big 4 Melbourne. Whoops, Melbourne. Hit save, and you're done. So what will happen now is if you go away for a weekend or away for the day and you're checking it the next day, instead of having to punch in all those filters, that Boolean string, everything again, on your landing page for Premium Talent Search, down here under Save Searches, you've got Sales Rep, click on that and we'll update that for you when you log in. Now you can only save up to 10 searches, so just be mindful of that. But there you go, you don't have to do all that again. So let's go a little further down, and now what you can do is you can view the candidate's full profile. So we'll highlight any words that we've found that are in line with your search. We'll also show you some extra information down the bottom and some context around where we've found some of those keywords in their CV as well. I'll just minimize that profile, and you can also see here there's a little cheeky button that says add to pool. So this is really exciting. This is a really new tool introduced to Premium Talent Search, and what you can do essentially is create your own candidate folders. So it's a really young tool as part of Premium Talent Search. So essentially what you do is you click add to pool, and I haven't got any, so I'm going to create one. I'll say Melbourne sales. We'll just keep it at that. Create new. So now Carl is in my Melbourne sales folder or talent pool. The next one, so say for example, I'm like, okay, Nicholas is really good. Add to pool, create new pool, and just be like, okay, finance sales. Whoops. Finance sales. So essentially you can create your own. You can do whatever you like with it. So if you've spoken to a candidate or if they've just recently entered a role and you're like, okay, well, when I have my next role, they might be suitable for, I'll touch base with them. So you could go add to pool and give it a name, upcoming sales roles. Create new. So you can really use it however you like. To access your talent pools, all you need to do is click on talent pools, and this is available also on the homepage. Click on talent pools, and here they are. So we can click into it. Let's go finance sales. Nicholas is in here. Now Nicholas won't move away from this talent pool unless we manually take him out. And all you need to do here is click on finance sales and untick this one. Refresh it. And we go back and he's not in here anymore. So that's just kind of how you take them out. This is a really young tool. So if you do start to use it and you're like, hey, I really wish they had this feature in it, please pass that feedback through. Our tools are powered by your feedback, so we'd love to hear what you think and what you'd like in the future as well. One more thing before we step away is I want to show you how to search by name on Talent Search as well, on Premium Talent Search, I should say. So say, for example, you've seen a candidate on another networking platform, or if someone's come up to you and said, hey, I know you're recruiting for this role at the moment. I know this really cool person. You can search for them. So all you need to know is either the company they work for or their role title. So in this case, I'm going to say, okay, this person is from Telstra. Hit enter. And then pop their name in here. Now, you don't need to pop their name in quotation marks. And then what happens is I've searched for William Bull. Here he is, William Bull at Telstra. Perfect. Love his profile. Have a look at it. Access his CV and then touch base with him. So one call out, I am in a demo account, so I've only got 20 credits, hence why my connection methods aren't clickable. But if you've got credits, and the credit balance will be up here, you'll be able to click on these connection methods. And again, it's the access CV, send them a message or send them a job that you've got live. You can also get more breakdown on your credits if you just click on the little arrow. We'll show you the account usage in this white area as well as the connection rates, and then your own connections just in the grey to the left. You can also access your saved searches from this panel here, and your accounts. If you're linked to multiple accounts, if you click on this, that'll show you them as well. And before we head back, any candidates in green, it just means they've got a history with the account that you're logged into at the moment. And if you want to know what that history is, you just click on the history button and we'll show you what those connection methods were. This will also include applications to job ads too. So that wraps up the demo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to our presentation and we'll finish off with some connection methods. So when you send a copy of your job, this is what the candidate gets. It'll just say, hi, company X, saw your profile on Seek, thought you might be interested in this job. We will send them a link to the ad. It's up to the candidate as to whether they would like to apply for the job or not. So this will cost you 25 credits per job that you send. Send message. This one I just describe as what you put in is exactly what you're going to get out. 50 credits per message. But if you send a vague message, there's a good chance you're not going to get a good response. And the reason is clear. These candidates, again, are quite passive, some more passive than others. but you need to give them a reason to engage back. So you need to give them some context, and the ones on your screen are real messages, by the way. But if you go in with something personalized, kind of whatever you would say on the phone, pop it in a message, personalize it, tell them where you found their details, tell them why you think they'd be fit for the role you're recruiting for. And also the most important thing as well is to include your call to action. So if you'd like for candidates to email you back or give you a call back, make sure you include that in your message just so they know what to do next, and that'll increase engagement as well. Finally, you've got Access CV. So this is the most common connection type. We do send the candidate a note just to let them know that company X accessed their Seek profile while searching for candidates, and that the company has a copy of the candidate CV and contact details. So this one, obviously a courtesy note, but what we also recommend is when you are connecting with a candidate, and for some reason, if they're not relevant, if they're not suitable for the role that you're recruiting for, just close the loop with them. So they do get this note, and it's also nice for them to hear back from you. So if they're not suitable, just let them know, close the loop with the candidate. And what that does is that helps them trust your brand, but also bad news always travels faster than good. So if they have a bad experience in the sense that you downloaded their details and never closed the loop with them, they'll definitely spread the word. So you don't want that kind of to impact your brand as well. So that's kind of it with the Access CV. Close the loop with them. And then at least if you've got another opportunity for them in the future, that's a warm lead because you've already established a little bit of a relationship as well. So accessing a CV will cost you 200 credits per access. And that's about it, all you need to know, I think, for Access CV. Key takeouts for premium talent search. So keep that initial search broad, and that's where I was popping in multiple role titles in that initial search that we did, the sales rep or sales consultant. Use your filters and Boolean search a little bit later. Boolean commands need to be in capitals just so we know what you're looking for versus what you want us to do with the information. You can search by name. I've shown you how to do that. You can personalize your messages, please do, and always include a call to action so they're following your process from the get-go. So guys, that concludes this webinar. Thank you so much for listening. If you do need any extra support, please feel free to call our customer service line on the number listed on the screen, 1300 658 700. We're open from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. You can also send us an email to customerservice@seek.com.au. If you're interested in watching any other webinars we have, you can visit the link below. So that's talent.seek.com.au/support/training. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, night, depends on what time you're listening to this, and happy searching.